Hi, I'm Maddy, and this is Wildcat Productions. Behind me is the school, and normally it would be filled with about 500 students, really noisy, really loud, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this is just not the case. We've been having to learn remotely since day one.
Recently, the Westport Community School System went fully remote for the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year due to the ongoing pandemic. This major shift has put a lot of pressure on students and teachers of grades 3 through 12. With the younger children fully in school, students hope we shift from remote to hybrid by the beginning of 2021. We interviewed Julia Hurley, a senior athlete, about her opinion on remote learning.
Remote learning has definitely been something that I've been struggling with so far this semester. It's something that doesn't really come easy to me as it's hard to focus from an at-home setting. I find it easier to be an active learner when I'm in class with my peers instead of at home on the computer.
Have you been spending more or less time participating in class than if you were in a classroom setting?
Well, there's less opportunity, I feel, to participate in remote learning because there's not a lot of student-to-teacher, like one-on-one opportunities to ask questions about the lesson, so definitely less participation.
Do you have a proper environment to participate in your remote learning classes?
Well, I've been taking my remote learning classes with my friends, so that's definitely been helpful to not be alone in my room. I think it's more beneficial to be with your friends that are in the same classes as you because you can work together.
When do you think students should be able to go back to school in a hybrid learning style based on what is going around?
I think that we should definitely be going back sooner rather than later because it's definitely not just me that's struggling with remote learning. I know it's something that's difficult for all high schoolers.
A largely utilized class here at Westport High School is the music program. So Gabe sat down with Mr. Sullivan to discuss how he's handling this hands-on remote learning.
With the school year recently starting, many people are uncertain of how classrooms are going to function in both an online and a hybrid setting. Mr. Sullivan, the band director, has figured out a few solutions to the many issues that are faced by various band classes as a result of the coronavirus pandemic.
One thing that has turned out to kind of be an advantage to me that before I felt was a disadvantage was the classes tend to be small, but doing remote learning, I set up a breakout room and having small classes makes it easier for me to work, have time to work one-on-one with all the students, which because of the latency, the delay in what you're hearing, I can't have everyone, play remotely. They don't see my conducting in time and they don't hear each other in time. So having a smaller class that lets me work with all the students one-on-one has worked out pretty well so far.
Mr. Sullivan also has plans for a concert that will happen at the end of the school year.
So I'm hoping that we can have a year-end concert. We are not planning on a winter concert. We're just not even going to bother with that.
Yeah.
Hoping that if circumstances allow us to do a year-end concert.
A growing trend because of this COVID-19 pandemic and remote learning is to study in groups together with your friends. So here is Faith and Abby with more.
For the start of the 2020 to 2021 school year, Westport Community Schools have decided to go fully remote until it is safe to begin a hybrid learning system. Many students, disappointed with the change, have adapted to spending time together while doing online school.
Julia Hurley, a senior athlete, gave her opinion on doing remote learning while with friends.
So far, remote learning hasn't been as bad as I expected it to be. Overall, I feel like I'm not learning as much as I would if I was in class, but the workload isn't as stressful as I hoped it would be. It's actually not that bad.
Have you observed a difference in your mindset and mood when you are actively participating in remote learning with your friends?
I find it easy to work with my friends when we're all together doing remote learning because we can work together to solve a problem that one of us may not know or needs help with. But it's definitely different than being in classroom where you could just ask the teacher or ask someone on the side of you because not everyone has that type of opportunity in remote learning.
Do you prefer to do remote learning with friends or alone?
I prefer to do remote learning with friends because I feel like it makes it more like a classroom setting rather than just sitting at my desk by myself, just looking at the computer. I have someone next to me that I could ask questions if there was just something I missed or if my computer cut out or something like that's a tiny issue that could be fixed with someone on the side of you.
Does hanging out with friends while doing schoolwork distract you from completing assignments, or do you believe that having friends around is more helpful?
It can be distracting when we're in different classes, but when me and my friends have the same classes and we're working on it together, it tends to be more helpful than hurtful.
Are there any tips you would like to share with someone who may want to give remote learning with friends a try?
It's important that you have headphones when you're in different classes with someone so the audios don't overlap and it gets really distracting. But something else that would be helpful is just being quiet if your class ends early so that everyone else can finish their class without being distracted.
Ms. Pereira's 7th to 10th grade special education class has been the only class in person in Westport High School. Ms. Pereira and her kids speak out about the challenges they've had to face thus far.
When COVID-19 hit, it shocked everyone around the globe, and it knocked everyone's lives off kilter just a little bit. As far as the autistic community and kids on the autistic spectrum, it really shocked their lives the most.
And I miss hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
It is harder because kids can have a mask on.
Charlie and Andrew of Miss Pereira's class really struggle with the fact that they have to wear masks and they're not able to see their friends in gym class, art, and other subjects. Struggles like these also happened during quarantine when these kids were fully virtual. Diane Pereira speaks out about how their regression took place and how she's working to try to halt this regression from beginning again.
Throughout COVID, unfortunately, my kids did regress throughout their, social skills and some of their educational skills because we weren't there right in front of them to support them. They had their parents and their families helping them, but the kids really need hands-on instruction.
Two ambitious and enterprising freshmen are using their spare time to expand their hobby. Here's Amelia with the story.
In 2019, two students who were struck with inspiration of bringing something new and exciting to Westport schools. With a thought in mind, the two friends approached their teacher, who encouraged them to pursue their ideas and continue to explore what they had in mind. And that was the beginning of Blackout Escapes.
Blackout Escapes was an idea for a fundraiser more than just selling soup. When my friend Cameron introduced me to escape rooms 3 years ago, we all immediately fell in love with the idea of making one ourselves.
Freshman Sam Van Son and his friend Cameron have been doing escape rooms for a few years now.
The first escape room was in our 7th grade film class. We had a very small room to work with, and we just did it for fun, honestly. Haunted Hallway was the official debut of Blackout Escapes. We had 2 rooms, Asylum and Sleepy Hollow. We ended up making over $200 in fundraiser money. In January of this year, we made 2 more rooms, Winter Wonderland and the Clue Experience. We ended up making over $600 in fundraiser funds.
Despite our current situation, Blackout has been giving students something to look forward to upon return to school.
We continue to design rooms until it's safe enough for us to bring Blackout Escapes back to Westport Junior Senior High School.
Then we'll now take you through the basic process that Blackout uses to create escape rooms.
The first step is to find a room that fits with the theme. Once we find the room, we start developing puzzles, puzzle layouts, and room design. On day of the event, we will set up everything that we previously designed and wait for our first group.